What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another page of the playbook. Back in studio. It is damn good to be here. Love sitting at these tables with these guys. We are missing Dan Tan, unfortunately unable to make it.
The Ravens lost. What a coincidence.
Yeah, Ravens losing. Sage like, hey guys, can't make it. I picked up a shift at work. Didn't even think about it.
Didn't think of that.
Sure, Sage. Sure. Couple rough weeks here on Thanksgiving. Winner for Colin and the Cowboys, who maybe aren't dead yet.
They are dead.
Come to find out when I do my power rankings. No, I'm just kidding. Or am I?
2 in a row.
Yeah, hey. Last week, overall pick records, Bobby, 12-4.
Yeah,
Big week for Bobby.
Yeah, good week.
Colin, 11-5. Strong week as well. Sage, 10-6.
Damn.
Strong week. And then me and Addison both went 8-8.
You'll
So,
take that.
hey, no under 500 weeks. 4-1 in mortal locks. With the only one losing was the Ravens, -3. Unfortunately for Colin, which kind of drops you now because you do have the lead in picks by a couple. But the mortal lock is now, if that tiebreaker comes into hand, you got your game down.
I know. Week before, I put the Panthers on the line,
Which is crazy.
And it hits, and then I put the Ravens with Lamar's
20-something and 1 against the NFC.
Make it 2 now.
Yeah,
Make it 2, 23-2, whatever it
It's
is.
a little tough.
NFC
Yeah,
is a little
seriously.
tricky to play. Giants and Eagles is only 2 losses against NFC. Locks last week, 2-1. Solid. We're back. We're up to, what is our current record? Like 25-14, I believe I have written down somewhere. Yeah, 25-14. You'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll take that for sure. Very, very good.
Can't be mad about it.
And then the only one that didn't win was your parlay teaser with Detroit not covering the 5.5, but everything else in that covered. Very solid.
You're up, what is it, 16-0 at halftime?
Yeah,
Yep.
You're like, oh, okay, you're just going to put the, pedal on the metal.
Yep.
Give me a quick 30
Foot to
burger
throat,
here, no
yep.
time. Bears, they didn't get their first down until, under 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Or was
Yeah.
it like 4 minutes?
I think,
It
yeah,
was bad.
it
And
was
so
not
it was
good.
like, you just, looking at that -5.5, they're going to win by 6, guaranteed.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then all of a sudden you're sweating it out. That game should have gone to overtime. We'll talk about it later,
It
but
should have.
to be the only leg that loses, that's tough.
That is tough. That is tough. And then Addison outrageous takes were close. They tried to score with Sewell. That would have
They
been
did.
sweet if they did. God, he's awesome. I loved him in the draft process, man. I wanted him bad.
Even the pass play, it took like 4 guys to try to sack him. And
Yeah.
It's like, man, maybe make him an RB for a
Dude.
play. Who's
He
tackling
should
this
be like
guy?
a fridge type
I
guy.
mean, man. Yeah, he's a monster, though.
He is an absolute monster. So, solid week all around the show. We've got some big news coming out of the NFL here we'll touch on briefly. Obviously, Bears. Matt Eberflus has been fired. And we were talking about this. Yeah, thank goodness. Don't let the door, or do let the door hit you in the head on the way out because you stink. I'm sorry, you stink. I wanted you out this past offseason. I understand they rolled the dice and went with him. Bears, though, breaking from history and firing him midseason. I love that. And it's the right call. I mean, what he did in-game was a fireable offense.
Oh, yeah.
A fireable offense to just sit there with timeout in your pocket. What are we doing? Why are you not using that? But then to defend it, I think, is when they're like, oh, this guy's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Addison, as our resident Bears fan, briefly tell us how you feel about this, and do you feel like you trust the Bears to make the right decision?
Well, you basically said it. The in-game blunder of not using the timeout was fireable enough, but then him justifying defending his actions as a coach, that's just unacceptable. And it was something Eberflus did his whole tenure with the Bears. He never really took accountability for himself until he got called out by the players, and then it was empty words of accountability. It starts with the head coach in all of his press conferences, and it's just the players are not hearing that after years of just jack bullshit, and that's what Eberflus was really running. I mean, this was a string of mistakes, just coaching errors where it's like, man, it doesn't look like the Bears prepared in big-time moments, and that really starts with the head coach. So I'm glad the Bears made the move. Thomas Brown excites me. Just hiring the next coach, obviously that's where it gets a little sketchy. I believe in Ryan Poles as a GM. I like Kevin Warren, the position he's in. I think those two at the head of the committee trying to get the next head coach for the Bears, I believe they can get it done. When we hired Matt Eberflus, Ryan Poles just got hired as GM. He wasn't really calling the shots yet. It was Bill Polian was in the building helping the search for head coach. And since he was new at GM, they really, I feel like, didn't give him the opportunity. He sort of got backed into a corner with Eberflus, and he sort of got stuck with him. So obviously, Poles, this is it. You're getting attached to the next head coach at the hip. If they have success, you'll be around for a while. If not, you're gone soon. But I believe in the Bears just because Caleb Williams, he's going to draw whoever it is. I understand the limitations from a coordinator perspective on defense. Whoever the Bears hire, they're going to have to hire a 4-3-D coordinator because that's how the Bears' defense is built. But Caleb Williams and the offensive pieces, DJ Moore's there, Cole Kmet's there, Swift's there, Odunze's there, and Caleb's there for at least 4 more years after this season. So that enough will at least keep the highly touted coaches in the interest for the Chicago Bears. So I think they'll get the job done. At least I'm praying, as the Bears fan. But, I mean, like you said, Nate, with the history being made, it seems like things are changing. Yeah. This is a season where Eberflus finishes the year, gets fired, and his writing's been on the wall since week 6. And instead, they make the move in season to try to salvage something with Caleb and Thomas Brown. And Thomas Brown's got an audition right now. I like what the Bears did at the end of the day, though, because they could not keep on the Eberflus train. They could not.
Yeah, completely agree. They had to get rid of him. Now, whether or not they hired the right guy, to be seen. There's going to be several open jobs, and there's only so many great coaches to go around. So it'll be fun to see who they bring in and who they think can lead. Because like you said, if you look at all the open jobs, the Jets, who's their quarterback next year? I don't know. Yeah. Raiders, who's their quarterback next year? I don't know. Shador, maybe right. A draft guy. Giants, who's their quarterback next year, a rookie. It's like Caleb Williams is a proven commodity. He's going to be good. Yeah. We have that here for at least 4 years.
This isn't a question with Justin Fields. Can you unlock Fields?
Right.
This last time around, no. This is a piece that is already good. Maybe you got to unlock him a little bit, but it's like he's already shown enough in a really bad situation. What can you do if we get some continuity and a good coaching staff around him?
Agreed. Other news around the NFL today, Azeez Al-Shaair, after taking off most of Trevor Lawrence's head in that hit, is suspended for 3 games by the NFL. I think that's the right call with his history. And I will say, Rex Ryan brought up a good point on Get Up, which I do watch only after the Jets lose because I like Mike Greenberg's pain and suffering. It brings me life. He was like, we've got to stop teaching quarterbacks to slide because all of their momentum is backwards, and if they get hit coming forward, which defenders are flying, their head's going to slam to the turf like Lawrence's did. If they just dive forward, that's going to at least protect their head. Yeah. I think that's a decent point. Colin, do you have any thoughts on Al-Shaair being suspended? And if you think right move, wrong move, what do you think?
Well, you guys talk about the history aspect of it all, and I think that's what they really look at when they determine kind of the length of it. And you see some hits from earlier this year in that Bears game alone. I mean, late hit out of bounds on Caleb. I mean, Caleb was kind of still in bounds. It was fringe.
Way better.
But then the punch to follow to Roshan, that's pretty ugly. You see the Brady choking out, obviously a few years ago.
Late hit on Pollard a week ago.
Late hit on Pollard, that was a huge hit. He was definitely out of bounds. So I'm not surprised by the suspension. Whether 3 games is enough or too many, I'm okay with it, to be honest with you. But talking about the quarterbacks, kind of piggybacking off what you said, I believe it was Rex that it was like just dive at the defender's ankles.
Yeah, because then they're going to
hop back or even jump over you and then just hope you're giving yourself up and they blow it dead, or they just make contact with you. So they're not going to go down and try to meet you at the ground on a dive most of the time. So I don't hate that point, but sliding you would think would be the most cautious way because you
giving yourself up.
That's tough.
But then you got to do it early enough.
But then you look at the play, talking about the play that hit on Trevor Lawrence this past weekend. They're 5 yards apart whenever he looks like he's starting a slide.
Thinking about sliding.
And let's just say a best 40-yard dash would be what, 4.4?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range. Mm-hmm. That is 0.7 of a second. Yeah. Both guys coming at full speed to go from he's sliding, but my momentum's
is already diving forward. It's very hard.
In a perfect world, I like to think, hey, he just was already initiating contact and he just happened to slide and it's less than a second to really come to the collision.
Which is true.
But on the other end, you look at the history and it's I would like to think in a perfect world you could avoid a hit like that. Yeah. But, I mean, I don't hate the suspension, but it is interesting to see the precedent and moving forward how they kind of rule those.
Agreed. And it does stink because you do have, I know D'Amico Ryan should have come out and basically said that's a bad hit. He shouldn't do it. He's going to learn from this. You do have to think some of the, Kenny Pickett, fake slid in college. Mahomes will occasionally slow down, he's going down, and then he picks up speed again, and defenders don't want to touch him because they don't want to get the flag. It's my options are to either hit you and get a flag or let you run by me and look stupid. And that's tough for a defender when these guys are all the cream of the crop athletes running as fast as, you said, they are. It's very tough on defenders. We asked a lot of these guys, but, man, that was an ugly-looking hit. And then to get up and continue to brawl with everybody and fight and rip off a Jaguar guy's helmet.
I mean, immediately after looking at the ref, hands up at the flag.
Yeah,
hands up at the flag.
Yeah, he's like, what? It's like, dude.
What are you talking about? And then also, just one thing on the quarterbacks. Slide like Brady. Put that leg right up. Kick him.
Yeah, kick him.
That's what Brady did. He got called dirty for years for it. But guess what? Nobody was crushing Brady like that because they know a cleat's coming straight to their face.
Yeah, not interested.
He'll put his leg up. But I mean, maybe quarterbacks should adapt that as well. You don't want to see QBs taking hits like that. No. Especially Trevor Lawrence. I mean, no quarterback could take that. But that guy's supposed to be future of the league.
Face of the league.
At the end of the day, he was fencing on the field. And now that's one confirmed for him.
It's his second documented concussion, but first time of traumatic brain injury. Right.
If that happens again, conversation has to begin because it's on Tua as well. I mean, rightfully so. But it's like now we want to avoid that for all players, quarterbacks especially, though, because that's why people tune in at the end of the day.
Right, to watch quarterbacks and points. Agreed. So some news around the NFL. Now, fun little segment here. I got the idea this morning. Fact or fiction in the NFL. So I'm going to ask you guys things. You're going to tell me fact or cap. Okay? So first one. If you're a fan of the Ravens or the Bills, is this season Super Bowl or bust for Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen? I say fact. I say if the Ravens or the Bills don't win the Super Bowl, this season's a bust for them, a complete failure, because the Chiefs don't look like the Chiefs right now. The Ravens have, what are they going to do to get any better? How are they going to improve? I don't know how. And Bills, same thing for the Bills. They look like a juggernaut right now. Josh Allen he's 28, 29 years old. He's in the prime of his career, doing things he shouldn't be able to do. Is this season a complete bust if these two teams, one of these teams doesn't win the Super Bowl? Colin, what do you think? Fact or cap? And no in the middle.
So for the Ravens' sake, I would say fact.
Yeah.
Because you look around their team and their roster, Derrick Henry's only getting a year old. How many times have we heard that? I mean, so that might just be cap in and of itself.
He is a freak.
But looking at the Bills, I mean, this is a year where, yes, the Chiefs are down, but the Bills, what was their preseason expectation? Yes, they lost a lot of their depth and a lot of their defensive starters as well, offensive starters, Stephon Diggs. Winning. And here they are. Didn't they just clinch the division or not?
They did. They did win the division.
Tip my cap to that.
Yeah, well done.
I thought this was a year coming in that the Bills would be kind of obviously still a playoff contender. I picked them to win the division, hence why I'm tipping my own cap.
Correct.
But I thought they would be kind of that fringe.
10-7, 11-6.
Right. I didn't think they were going to be this good. So I think on that aspect of it and looking around their pieces as well, at least the ones that come to mind, none of them are super, super old or late in their career.
No.
So I think that's a team they can continue to build off of and even improve, as stupid as that sounds, because they're already so good. But looking at the Ravens side, yes, you just got Lamar locked up contractually, so he's going to be there moving forward. They do have a lot of young guys as well with some of their older guys. But talking about what can they do to get better,
right?
I don't know what that is, because it's not going to be, I don't think, firing John Harbaugh.
No, it's not that.
And so I don't know what they can do as a team to get better, because not to just tangent too long, but I saw a breakdown this morning. It was Ravens in their wins, Ravens in their losses. Their defense is giving up 24 in both wins and losses. So the defense, even though it's been consistent. And their wins offensively, they're scoring 35 points a game, and their losses are scoring 20 points a game. So it's
big difference.
What can they do offensively to get better? Because if you ask me, they're a top 3 unit in the league on offense.
Right. So, how do you improve this?
And so I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's just in-game situation. But I would say for the Ravens, it's Super Bowl or bust. For the Bills, it still is fringe Super Bowl bust. But with the preseason expectations, I would say it's not Super Bowl or bust this year.
Okay. Addison, thoughts?
I'd have to agree a little bit with both the fact and cap for both sides. I think the Ravens, it is fact, because you pretty much said it. I think the writing is on the wall for John Harbaugh. I think Sage might have been a little early on it, but I think it's getting more momentum. I think Harbaugh's losing some love from the Ravens. He's talking about O-line not having to make changes when there's clear problems with Lamar getting pressured. Colin, you said one thing, what can the Ravens do to make the offense better? Lamar using his legs. His mama called him out, and I think that might change a little bit. Lamar in his pressure said, I'm going to do me, help the team, and I think that's a good thing, because it's great to want to throw and prove that you're a pocket passer. Man, if they're letting you take off Lamar, please do. Please do, because you are when you have the ball in your hand, man, who wants that? Who else do you want besides Lamar?
No.
I mean, I don't know anyone. Maybe Derrick Henry when you're up a score late in the fourth, but that's really about it.
Yeah.
And they got both of those guys. But at the end of the day, I think it's fact for them, just because Justin Tucker questions there. You're going to have to replace a legend, a kicker. And then John Harbaugh, what goes on with there? Because at the end of the day, it's turning into that Marvin Lewis situation where he's been there for a while and you're riding on a Super Bowl from a decade ago. Bills, though, I'm going to go cap just because they've kept it around. And even though they tore everything apart, and yet they've won 10 games already this season. I think the Chiefs might be falling apart a little bit. I still think they're going to be competing for years to come. Obviously, they've got Mahomes. Kelsey's gone soon. Who are they going to replace him with? They lack weapons really on the offensive side of the ball. Rasheed Rice tore his ACL. The running back room, it's getting older each year. I like their defense, but it's struggled recently for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think the Bills are capped because they look like they're going to be able to compete for a while. I know the Ravens will with Lamar as well. I just think it could become a situation where culture changes if the Ravens don't win a Super Bowl here. McDermott's going to stick around, even though he could be fired. And this season alone has just guaranteed him 2 more years. just because expectations and how they've bounced this year to perform over the expectations, it's really good for the Bills. So I'm going to go cap them. Fact for the Ravens, though.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I do. It's hard to look at what the Bills are doing and say that anything other than Super Bowl would be a successful season. I know like 10-2, very impressive, but man, the way that Josh Allen has looked, my MVP pick, by the way, the way he has looked with these guys, I mean, he's never played better football in his entire career. Never played better football. And man, it's hard to say like if they don't win the Super Bowl this year, it's like, okay, well, shit, when are we going to win the Super Bowl then? If we can't win it now, then when?
So I will add to my pick as well of cap on the Bills. Now, that does change to a fact if somehow they do surpass the Chiefs and get the 1 seed.
True, that's huge.
If you lose another home game to the
Chiefs,
you're never going to
beat them.
If the Bills do get the 1 seed and have home field throughout, I think it is fact for Super Bowl or bust because look how down have they been at home.
I know.
6-0, they score 30 in every game.
Yep.
And I don't want to caveat mine as well, but if the Chiefs lose early in the postseason,
which
and
they
not
won't,
to the Bills,
just
then
in
it's a
general.
fact
Then
if they
it's
don't
gotta
win.
go.
But if they run into the Chiefs, at the end of the day, it's the hot take to hate on the Chiefs right now. They're back-to-back Super Bowl champions, and all of a sudden they've lost 1 game, but they're winning ugly. Who cares? What would happen if they lost to the Raiders? Is that worse? Like, I get it. Is that worse than getting a win? I mean, obviously, but what's so bad? They've lost 2 games all season. A team's not going to win every single game. When they get to the playoffs and struggle, I'll actually believe it. Mm-hmm. But if that does happen, then it is a fact for the Bills. If the Chiefs are really not the Chiefs, it's a fact.
Fact. Got to win it. Okay. I like that.
If the Chiefs' biggest concern is we're not dominating in our wins.
Yeah, which it is. That's their biggest concern. It has to be right now. Like, we're not dominant still.
That's scary.
Should have lost to the Raiders.
I get that's scary against a team like the Bills. They've already lost to them. But we'll see when it push comes to shove.
Yep, when it comes down to it, it's hard to pick against them. Agreed. Next one I've got is, and I figured this one when I was watching the game last night. When I saw that touchdown throw from Bo Nix, the one up the middle, that ball had some zip. That had way more zip than I thought he was capable of. So, factor cap, Bo Nix is the best quarterback from this past draft class. Factor cap. I'm on record, very clearly on record, of saying, now you're going to have to put aside your fandom as well for this part, as best as you can, of course. I'm on record of saying I did not like Bo Nix coming out, and I think he's a bit of fool's gold. I think that he's going to have a great year this year, and this might be the best year of his entire career. He may never do something like this again because he played like close to 1,000 snaps in college. Like, he was very pro-ready in a pro-happy offense with Sean Payton. So I say cap on this one, but it's way closer than I thought possible at the beginning of the year. I thought he was the 6th. I thought he was a guaranteed, should not have been taken in the first round. I mean, shout out Sean Payton for getting the most out of him, man. They scored, 40 points last night? Yeah, defensive touchdowns and everything, but they have looked damn good. So I'm saying cap right now, but it's close for me. It's close for me. Addison, I'm going to come to you first on this one.
I'm going to go fact for this season right now. He's playing the best out of any rookie. I think he touched on that, though, Nate. I think that's because this is almost his ceiling, and that's still pretty good, though. That's still pretty good.
That's average quarterback.
If you got Sean Payton coaching you up, you got a really good defense, you got a decent running attack. I mean, you got at least Cortland Sutton as his only weapon, but... Right. I mean, that is my one question I have for Bo Nix. Can he throw it deep? Maybe in that mile-high air he gets it a little, rip it through a little bit better. I mean, that was a heater, man. Heater, absolute dot.
I mean, that left his hand. I was like, oh, that looked like Justin Herbert.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That looked like
that was a laser off of his body, and
I think he had that in.
It was interesting to see him bounce back from the picks as well because it had been a couple weeks since turnovers from Bo Nix. He played really good. I mean, Denver's absolutely in love with the kid right now, rightfully so. So I got to say fact for this season. Jaden Daniels has cooled off big time. Obviously, monster explosion last week, but this past week. But their offense has just cooled off, and his legs have not been as much of a factor as of recently. But I'm going to go with Bo Nix' fact that he's the best rookie quarterback as of right now.
Today.
Give me Caleb, Jaden, and Drake May over him for the long term. Yeah. Definitely. But right now, Bo Nix looks the best. Helps when Sean Payton is your coach.
It
helps
a lot to be in that situation. And they really built a good offensive line in front of him.
Yeah.
Too. Colin, what are your thoughts on this?
I agree, Addison, literally 100% what you said. For this season, yes, he has looked like the best quarterback, and now of the rookie class. But now is that just situation with Sean Payton versus you look at these other guys? We got second half Cliff Kingsbury showing up, and then we have the Bears just being the Bears.
Yeah.
Drake May has shown some flashes here, but it is the Patriots at the end of the day rebuilding situation.
Yeah, Gerard Mayo out.
So this year, I'm going to say fact, Bo Nix has been the best quarterback for this season. Moving forward, I do still have trust in what we've seen out of the flashes of those other 3 guys, but I wouldn't be surprised. But we've seen as of recently, Mac Jones had a pretty good rookie year.
Yeah, he did, and he was the most pro-ready.
He was the most pro-ready. So I'm gonna halt on the moving forward train of him being the best, but for this season, he has been the best rookie quarterback in my mind.
I agree, and really the thing that always was for me, I was like, you know what, he's going to be accurate. He was accurate enough in college. Sean Payton's a good coach. I just didn't think like the flashes I've seen from him are more than I ever thought I would see from him. Like when he breaks off the runs, I'm like, where did the speed come from? And when he throws laser, I'm like, where was this?
Yeah, he's a good athlete.
He's a very good athlete.
That is another thing. He rips the ball in tight windows.
Yeah.
That is impressive. And if he's doing that, I mean, hey, at the end of the day, if he's not the best quarterback in the league, but he's a top 10, top 12 guy,
you'll take that.
You can win a Super Bowl with that. You can if your team is good.
Right, and I mean, he's really only doing this with Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
I mean, Cortland Sutton has 104 targets. His next closest is Devon Vele with 45.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, Broncos, we're not talking about cap hell. They got $50 million dragging around on Russell Wilson's dead contract, and they're still doing this with a rookie. This is a good sign for Broncos fans for the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
If his ceiling is close, he's close to that ceiling. They're still looking good because the team's just going to get better.
Yes, the roster will get better as money is freed up and players bring in. Yeah, I agree. I think he's in a really good spot, and he has surprised me. I can own that. Last one, kind of touching on the Broncos here. Factor cap. The playoffs are set right now. On December 3rd, current playoff teams, the 14 teams that are in today are the 14 that are going to be in come January. It's Kansas City, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Houston, Chargers, Ravens, Broncos in the AFC. NFC, we've got Detroit, Philly, Seattle, Atlanta, Minnesota, Green Bay, Washington. Colin, I'll start with you. Factor cap. And you can ask me questions about the teams if you need to. My handwriting sucks.
Where are we at here?
Right here.
Okay. So looking at the AFC side, I probably would say fact. I would have to really see the team schedules moving forward, just the last, 4 games or 5 games scheduled on their schedules. But I do think Denver holding that last wild card. I mean, I don't see Miami and Indianapolis as good as they've shown the flashes for the last few weeks here. I just don't know if they have enough time to complete that comeback and make the playoffs. But I would have to see the schedules, obviously, so that's my cop-out there. But fact for the AFC. For the NFC, there's got a couple people in here that I'm a little nervous about. You look at Atlanta. I mean, Tampa Bay is right on their heels.
They're tied at 6-6.
And then even if Atlanta does hold out or Tampa takes the division, Washington's cooling down. I mean, they had a great week this past week against Tennessee, but you're not going to play against Tennessee every week. And then also looking at Seattle. I mean, they've shown they're just a super streaky team.
They are.
They're on their high right now. Is that drop inevitable? Like, is it coming the next couple of weeks? I could see anybody in that division. I mean, besides probably San Francisco at this point, just with their injuries. Yeah. I could see the Rams making a little run with Stafford to get the division. I could see Arizona not choking another late game and somehow getting that division.
Seahawks' schedule's tough going out, by the way. In Arizona this week, host the Packers, host the Vikings, go to Chicago, go to LA to take on the Rams in Week 18.
And that Week 18
that might be for the division.
That might be the division. So I'm going to say fact for the AFC. I do think the 7 teams that are in it currently will make the playoffs. Maybe the seeding might be a little bit different. But I'm going to say cap for the NFC. I think there's a couple of divisions up for grabs, and maybe that 7th spot in the wild card as well could be up for grabs for a frisky Bears or Cowboy team.
Frisky Bears or Cowboys. Come on. Addison.
Green Bay and Washington both lose out. Bears got life. You talk to me. You talk to me. I'm actually going to cap both the NFC and the AFC. Denver's schedule the rest of the way is tough. Colts in a must-win game for both teams. If Colts win, it is in Denver. It is in Denver. But Anthony Richardson throws that Mount Hawthorne 100-yard pass. And let's also not forget about the Jets. They went out.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody else loses out.
I don't think they can
8 and 9. I don't know about tiebreakers. I think 8 and 9 might if everyone loses out. Tiebreakers, who knows?
They would if everyone else.
I don't know about tiebreakers, but they got a life. They got life.
They're not eliminated yet.
Not eliminated. But Broncos just have a tough schedule. Colts, Chargers, Bengals, Chiefs. That's a tough way to end the season, even though and the Chiefs shouldn't be fighting for that 1 seed, so that Chiefs game at the end, they're going to need to win that.
Bengals aren't going to roll over.
No, Bengals are not rolling over. Joe Burrow's going to be competing. And then the Colts, obviously, and then the Chargers, shit. And then you look at Indy, their schedule is a cakewalk.
Very favorable.
Broncos is a tough game, and they must win. If they lose that game, it's over. Broncos are in. But if the Colts win, they get the Titans, G-Men, Jags.
Oh.
The Colts could go on a 5-game win streak to end this season. They really could. And, who wants to play that team? If the Colts sneak in, I'm going to go capping and say that the Broncos schedule catches up to them, and instead the Colts get the benefit of the bad schedule late, and the Broncos got the tough schedule, and it's going to flip-flop their spots. Who knows? Ravens might even implode.
Yeah, Ravens are 8-5, although their schedule's not so hard.
No, it's not. They're fine. But the Broncos and Colts, I'm going to go cap with the flip there. In the NFC, I'm going to cap as well. And you didn't talk about it surprising. It's not Seattle that I'm worried about. It's Atlanta. I don't think Atlanta's making it. They're really imploded. Tampa Bay is going to take over that division. Mike Evans is back. Too bad Chris Godwin got hurt the way he did because he coming back later would be elite. But Mike Evans is enough. Baker is a monster. Bucky Irving is a monster. Their defense has played well. So I'm going to go Atlanta falling out. And who knows with Washington? I want to see it the rest of the way. Obviously, got to play like they did against Tennessee. But I think Atlanta and Tampa Bay will at least flip-flop. And I could easily see an NFC West flip-flop as well. So I'm going to go cap on both NFC and AFC playoffs are not set.
Okay. Yeah, I'm same as Addison here. Honestly, I'm going cap in the NFC because I think Atlanta might go to Michael Penix before we know it. 4 picks from Kirk Cousins in a very winnable game, man. You can't have that.
Breaking news on Twitter, Sears Tower says that if Kirk Cousins struggles, they're going to go to Penix.
I mean, you got to think about it because
this next week.
If you don't start winning, you're in trouble. So Atlanta's got to figure it out. So I think it's cap over there. And I don't know if Washington hangs on for that last wild card spot because Arizona's 2 games, like a game and a half behind them. It's getting tight towards the bottom of the NFC there. I mean, you've got Tampa, who's 2 games, a game and a half. Arizona 6-6, LA 6-6. So if Washington stumbles down the road here, they got in New Orleans, should be a winnable game, and then they got Eagles, Falcons, Cowboys. So we'll see how they finish up. And Addison, you were so close in the AFC. You were so close. So close. Obviously, it's the Dolphins who are sneaking in and taking Denver's spot because Denver's going to beat the Colts and then Denver's going to lose out. Denver's going to end up 9-8. The Dolphins' schedule's favorable, man. We got the Jets, Texans without Alshire, which is huge. And the Texans have been kind of iffy. That's our toughest game. And then we host the 49ers and their injuries. Browns, Jets. It's 5 winnable games. It's 5. Now, you can't lose. Can't lose a single one of them. 10. You have to have 10 wins to make playoffs in the AFC. Can the Dolphins do it? Their only cold weather games are against Cleveland, who's 3-9, and the Jets, who are 3-9. I like that. Sneak in, you never know. Who wants to play that team?
It's actually got life.
It has life. Colts and Dolphins both have life.
Out of all the
can they do it? They really do. 10-7 is not off the table.
Just because, again, you're not wrong. Denver's got an extremely hard road ahead of them.
Tough road ahead of them.
Colts are up down at the end of the day.
Right, and if the Colts-Broncos game is obviously huge, because if the Colts win that one, they're not losing. They're winning and going to the playoffs because they'll have the head-to-head, and they have the head-to-head on us. Thanks a lot, Tim Boyle, dipshit.
For real.
What an idiot.
What a game to go to.
Fucking A. But that was Factor Cap. I was like, I got some ideas. Let's talk about these. Let's briefly get into power rankings. I didn't even write mine down because mine haven't changed from last week. Lions at 1. Eagles at 2. I almost put the Eagles at 1. I almost flipped them up there because, damn, do they look good. They are just we're going to wear you down and then Saquon's going to beat you at the end type of team. We're going to wear you down up front. Our offensive line is going to body you. Our defensive line is going to bully you, and then we're just going to win in the end. Bills at 3, they just absolutely dismantled a hapless 49ers team. Got a feel for Christian McCaffrey, man. I thought it was Achilles. I'm glad it wasn't, because if that was his Achilles, that means it's all next year too. So yeah, that might be it. We may never see 2023 Christian McCaffrey again, which makes me sad. Bills at 3. I'm going to keep the Chiefs at 4. I don't want to, but I'm going to. I'm going to keep them at 4. I wanted to drop them, but I didn't. Steelers at 5. Damn impressive win. I didn't think Russ had that in him. I didn't think Russell Wilson had 44 points in him. 4 touchdowns and 415 passing yards. That is fucking crazy.
Yeah, I've been on a Russ decent train, man. I'll say it.
That is crazy.
I want it unlimited.
Unlimited, Russ.
Up and down.
Unlimited. And then I'm keeping the Packers as my honorable mention. The Vikings, very fortunate to sneak away from the Cardinals. Packers are just a dominant trenches team. They are a physical team that is going to run the ball on you, and they're going to stop your running attack. They're built to win close games. We'll find out a lot about them in a couple of days on Thursday night. So I'm going Lions, Eagles, Bills, Chiefs, Steelers, Packers. I didn't even talk about the Lions. I don't have to. I feel like that's a given. Bears always play them tough. The Lions are the Lions. Addison.
Lions suck. My power rankings are taking a shakeup, and it's finally time I accept a little bit of the truth, and at least of the recency of Kansas City struggles. Number 1, give me the Detroit Lions. They got away with one against those frisky Bears and Caleb Williams. Yeah. If Romo Dunze is running to that damn ball, Matt Eberflus is not fired. Eberflus lost. I mean, Romo Dunze lost in the lights. That was a dime by Caleb Williams. Dime by Caleb Williams. The Lions, Jahmyr Gibbs, don't like seeing that social media post. At the end of the day, people are overblowing it, though. They change protections, verbiage all the time in the NFL because teams have tape and can hear what you say at the end of the day. Like, they have guys that are literally doing that. Anyway, besides the point, Lions 1, elite. 2, give me those Bills. Josh Allen, man, receiving touchdown and a passing touchdown.
Josh Allen.
In the same play. Absolutely wicked. He said on the sideline, I love football. If you didn't bet on Josh Allen anytime touchdown after he got engaged to Haley Steinfeld, you're a moron. That was a free. Yeah, he's the man right now. I just had a day. Let me glaze Josh Allen.
Of the world.
Just a little bit, man. He's a monster of football and he's got a babe. So give me the Bills at 2. That's why 2. Number 3, give me those Philly Eagles. Saquon, Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown. Don't even need Devonta Smith. The defense has figured out. Cooper DeJean just lifting up Derrick Henry off the ground. White men just putting it on this as of late in the NFL. I absolutely love to see it. So number 3 is the Philly Eagles. Number 4, screw it, I'm doing it. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 4 is because of that defense. TJ Watt, I asked him, I said, can we move him around a little bit? Can he get a little bit more of an impact? Well, guess what? He had one. Straight sack. Absolutely monster game. Defense played big. In a shootout against the Bengals, I thought it was a scenario where the Bengals were going to just outscore them. Pittsburgh can't keep up. Instead, 40-burger.
44 points.
So give me the Pittsburgh Steelers at 4. Number 5, I'm not taking them out because I love them. I am a Chiefs fan at heart. They're my second team.
Always has been.
The Kansas City Chiefs, Trent Green.
Second team.
Really dirty hit by Trent Green back in the day. But number 5 is the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. They've struggled as of late, but I don't buy it as of yet. Honestly, there's still one sort of in my mind because until this happens in the playoffs and they stumble, don't win a game, whatever, I don't buy it. It's Kansas City, it's Mahomes. Things are ugly. They were ugly last year. They didn't have a receiver for 14 weeks last season. And guess what? They figured it out and won a Super Bowl. They're going to figure it out. They're going to get things cleaned up. It's Andy Reid of the Chiefs, but I've got them 5. And they're going to win the 3rd in a row. I hope so. Number 6, give me the Green Bay Packers. Dropping Minnesota out. And again, it's because Minnesota just keeps winning these close games that's going to bite them in the ass, right? If it's going to bite the Chiefs in the ass, it's going to bite Minnesota. And Green Bay, you said today, they absolutely dominated the Dolphins who just can't play in cold weather. I mean, Mike McDaniels, whatever, shaking. It was the win, guys. It was the win. He wasn't really shaking. Give me the Green Bay Packers at number 6.
Cold outside.
No, it was, but it really it was the win. It was the win. He was not shaking.
Even if he's shaking still.
Yeah, whatever. I didn't think he was. But Green Bay is number 6. Jordan Love not turning the ball over helps Green Bay Packers offense. Shocker. Josh Jacobs gets 20+ carries. It's a good game. So give me Green Bay at number 6.
Okay. I like that. Man, if you had told me the stats from that Dolphins game before the game played, I was like, oh, yeah, Dolphins won in a shootout for sure. Being 2 of 350, 2 touchdowns. Sign me up. And then Josh Jacobs, 20 carries, 43 yards. Yeah. Yes, please. No, not how it goes. Not when you fumble a punt. I knew the game was over as soon as we fumbled that first punt.
Yeah, that was tough.
Can't fall behind like that.
Not to a good team.
No, not to a team that's going to take advantage.
Yep. First drive punt to a 1st and goal at the 7.
Yep.
It's
3 and out. All the momentum in the world is with Miami all of a sudden. And then instead he muffs the punt. Almost muffed it again later, too. It's like, oh, okay, we lost. I knew we lost as soon as it happened.
Yeah, I got a little bit of shake-up in mine as well. Keeping the Lions at number 1 as well. It is a little concerning. Yeah. The second half play calling. How do you have 16 rushes in the first half, 11 in the second half, and you have a 16-point lead? I think we got a little bit cute, and we went away from what's really been successful and what had been leading this offense throughout the season, that two-headed monster with the big O-line in front of them that's been the best in the league. Number 2, Buffalo Bills. If they play in Buffalo, you might as well chalk that as a W because, at least in the regular season, because 6-0, 30-plus points per game, I mean, they are just a juggernaut at home and in general this season. They've been great. We talked about Josh Allen's got a lot going for him. Good for him. Rooting for you. Nate's not because he's a Dolphins fan, but I think the rest of us are. So shout out. He's always been one of my favorite players.
I love him at Wyoming.
Number 3, it pains me. Cry Eagles cry. But I did have them as my 1 seed coming into the year. They are my NFC Super Bowl preseason pick. And so here they are dominating as we knew they are. Giants, your dicks. Why'd you just give Saquon Barkley to Philly?
Yeah, open up.
You know, why do we want a $40 million guy handing it to a $15 million or $18 million running back?
Just so we can cut the $40 million quarterback.
Yeah, just so we can cut the $40 million quarterback. You guys are dicks. Giving Saquon to the Philly was just not fair, and they are dominant. Their defense, the exciting whites, as you talked about, but also Jalen Carter, big week up front, just absolutely dominant. So Philly at 3. Kansas City does drop to 4 here on my rankings. I said it last week. I had them at 2. I really thought about being kind of controversial and dropping them. I am going to drop them this week. Nate, you were ahead of your time. Chiefs at 4. They just continue to win, but it's
lucky.
It's suspect. Gifted. They're getting a lot of bounces their way. Number 5, Pittsburgh Steelers. Probably the team I've been the most wrong about coming into the season. I picked them to finish last in their division, and here they are just chugging along. Still lost to Dallas. That's hilarious. Pittsburgh at 5. Dominant win on the road. At the honorable mention spot, I went back and forth between Green Bay and the Chargers, just trying to give the Harbaugh some love because they're frisky. Both teams, huge game this week on the road against division opponents. But I am going to put the Packers in that honorable mention spot, just winning at home in dominant fashion, to be honest. So Green Bay chugging right along. Minnesota, as you mentioned, Nate, just been keeping a little bit close, like the Chiefs. They've been kind of skating along, winning, but keeping it close.
Can't work forever.
Can't work forever. It's going to catch up to you at some point.
Yeah. So we all have the exact same 6 teams, just in slightly varying order. I will not put the Bills at 2 yet. I won't do it. I will not do it. Okay, those are the power rankings going into Week 14 of the NFL season.